Hello everyone and welcome to this Yin yoga practice. Let's start straight away with intention setting, bringing our hands in front of the heart space, and remind yourself why you showed up on the mat today. As your intention has settled, lower down your hands, and you may want to use a little pillow for this practice or a folded blanket. It is completely optional. And then settling in once more, you can join your thumb and index finger, closing our eyes this time to just connect to our breath. So in Yin, we don't need to do a strong breathing, but it can be helpful to still guide the breath deeper into the lungs. Feeling that in-breath pouring down to the lower lobes of the lungs. Allow the belly as well as the chest to expand on each in-breath, and the body to soften and surrender a little more into the experience, into the moment on the out-breath. And just feel that rhythm. And with each breath, settling in a little more. We will then drop our head gently over to the right shoulder, and you may want to extend through the left arm. You could also place the right hand on top of the head to guide yourself a little deeper into the neck stretch, creating a diagonal line from the neck down to the fingers on the left hand. And breathing deeply into that left side. Then slowly lower the hands down and just roll your head all the way across to the other direction. You may extend through the right arm here, again creating that diagonal line from the fingers to the neck. Left hand on top of the head. And just take a few calm breaths here into the right side of your body. The right shoulder and the right side of your neck. And final deep breath. We will then lower both of our hands down onto the thighs. You can roll your chin down towards the chest. On your next inhalation, lift your head, tilting your head back, and lift the chest. On your exhalation, drop your chin down towards the chest and round the back of your body. Inhale to lift, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, drop your chin down to the chest, lean into the back. Inhale, lift through the heart, tilt your head back. And exhale, rounding your body. Breathing in to lift. Rolling the shoulders back as well. And with every out breath, you might lean a little more into the back, tilting your tailbone in. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round the back. From here, you can gently lift and lengthen through the crown of your head, and we will prepare for our first position, extending the right leg diagonally with your left foot towards the inner thigh. Now you could either sit on the edge of that little pillow or blanket to help yourself with tilting your pelvis. You could also use it on top of the right leg as a support for the forearms, maybe even for your head. And of course, if you have several props at home, you're more than welcome to make use of that. And then see what you're comfortable with. You can start with your foot a little bit flexed, and as you come into the position, just relax that right foot all the way out to the toes. And going as far into this as feels right for you. Remembering that in Yin, we really want to stay at around 70 to 80% of our capacity. We want to keep some space for just softening, relaxing our body. And it is when we find this magic spot in our practice that the energy can really nourish the deeper part of our system, letting the prana flow deep into the joints, the ligaments, the bones. You will feel an opening here along the inner track of the right leg, back of that leg. There is an external rotation on the left side into the hip, an opening into the left side of your body, and the back of your body. Breathe into these various points that you now feel open. Providing the space to bring more harmony into these channels. Settling in here for a final deep breath before slowly pressing back up to a seated position. Start with just observing for a moment, lengthen up to the crown, chest facing forward. And then slowly twisting over that bent knee. As you twist, you could flex that right foot a little more just to stabilize your hips. Breathe into the rotation. And then slowly look back to the front. You can just lean back a little bit here and switch legs. Once more, start with that left foot a little more flexed, and then using your props in a way that feels supportive for you. You could, of course, be much higher than what I'm demonstrating right now with your forearms on that pillow, or even just your hands down to the ground. So always listen to your body. Again, find that magical point for you, and then really relax and surrender into it, relaxing every part, including your left foot, including your face, your arms. Welcome this sense of dropping down. Letting go of control. Let your body surrender into the here and now and guide your breath into those various points that you feel stretching, opening. Release any stagnant energy. Create space for peace, harmony into each and every cell of your being. This is your time to reset your body. Your time to connect to this deeper part of yourself. We will then very slowly press back up to a seated position once more, lengthening to the crown. And then turning towards that bent knee, flexing the left foot a little more actively as we twist. And take a few breaths here. And then looking back towards the front, and we will transition into a couple of windshield wipers, the knees a little wider apart, leaning into the back of our hands, and just go with those knees from right to left. A few times just to release the hips, the back of the legs. Rolling along the outer edges, inner edges of your feet. Now from here, see if you can come to all fours. And we will then pull that right knee forward below the right wrist and creating a diagonal line with your shin towards the ground, your toes reaching over to the left side, left leg extended, and squaring those hips down here in pigeon pose, possibly with a pillow underneath the buttocks. Dropping down onto the forearms when you're ready, and possibly dropping your head down as well. And now I want you to observe that your knee feels safe here. If you need a higher prop underneath your buttocks, the outer track of the leg, then please do so. Another excellent option to this pose is to do it reclined, so laying down on your back, crossing the right ankle over the left knee. So feel free to practice that as well. If there's no pinching pain in your knee, then staying in this variation and dropping down into that right leg. Feeling the pressure as well as the lengthening along the outer track of the leg into the buttocks. A wonderful pose to work with the gallbladder. supporting our body's ability to detoxify. You may focus on guiding a few breaths into that space, into the right side of your body. Some uncomfortability might be present in yin. And it can be interesting to explore how can we surrender into that. How can we still use our breath to stay in the here and now? How can we soften? And then lift yourself slowly back up on your hands. And take your time to transition back onto your hands and knees, and it may feel good to do a couple of circular movements here, going in one direction slowly. Just releasing the hips a little bit and then going in the other direction a couple of times. And then you can sit back towards your heels. You could also take those knees a little wider apart if you'd like. And take a few breaths here in child's pose. Just feel your body. Feel the effects and notice the subtle shifts taking place. Become aware. And then from here we will slowly rise back up, and this time we take the left knee forward below the left wrist, again the toes reaching over towards the right side, flexed foot, possibly a prop underneath the outer track of the left leg. You could start with an in-breath, lengthening, and then exhale, just drop your upper body down as far as feels good for you. Again, there may be some uncomfortability in yin, but trying to explore that we don't let the ego take over throughout the practice. Exploring the balance between feeling the effects but still inviting space for completely surrendering, completely letting go. And this is the magic of yin. Guiding the breath to wherever the tension may lie. Let the body and the mind loosen up. from that softening, we can shine, we can open. And taking a few more breaths. Still inviting the breath to travel deep. And then slowly starting to lift up back on our hands. And this time we will come all the way back into a downward facing dog, tucking our toes in, pushing ourselves up and walking it out for a moment. Bending into the right leg, bending into the left leg, inviting some circulation into both right and left side. And then from here you can drop the knees back down, and we will transition into our next position, where you can either sit on the edge of the pillow, or you may again use it in front of you. Taking your right foot either in front of the left here in a cross-legged position and folding forward, or placing your right foot on the lower left leg and folding forward from there. Third option is to place your ankle on top of the left knee and to keep both shins more or less parallel to the front of your mat. If your knee lifts up here, you could support the leg with a cushion or a blanket. You could also use that in front of you to use for your forearms, or maybe even the forehead for some of you. So explore the different possibilities here. Please listen to your body. This one is called square pose. We are squaring the lower legs to the front of the mat. However, we're more creating a triangle with the lower part of our body, from our spine to the knees. And wherever you are in this position, again, make sure that there's no sharp pains in the knees, especially in this pose. Also into the low back area. So rather going for one of the softer options where you can still benefit from the external rotation in your hips, then pushing yourself here if the knees are sensitive. As you release forward, feeling the pressure into the hip joints, and that deep stretch for the back of the body as well. Deep external rotation. And slowly lift ourselves all the way up, back to an upright position. And take a moment here to feel the effects. And then uncross the legs, extend them forward, just lean into your hands and sway your feet from side to side. And this may feel really nice just to shake up the hip joints a little bit. And then when ready, we will take the left foot in front of the right, either as I'm showing you now, or the left foot on top of the right lower leg, or optionally the ankle on top of the knee. Again, this is quite deep, so feel free to go for one of the first options. Keep in mind that you could also just drop into your hands in front of your legs and lean a little bit into your hands. And if you feel comfortable with dropping deeper, by all means, drop the forearms. And exploring whatever option feels right for you. Reminding yourself of that 70-80% indication in each pose. This is a wonderful pose to prepare us for lotus position. We are really working with the hips here, allowing the energy to move deep into our hip joints. Take a few more steady, soothing breaths here. Guiding the breath into those hips. From here, starting to slowly lift back up onto your hands. And we will again just feel the effects for a moment. And then extend both legs in front of you and give them a little rock from side to side, kind of flopping your feet from right to left, shaking up all the way into the hip joints. And after this, we will now lay down all the way with the knees in towards our chest. You can give yourself a nice little squeeze, a nice little rock from side to side. And lower down your feet to the ground, crossing the left ankle below the right knee. You can hold on to the left ankle with your right hand before dropping the outer track of the right leg towards the ground, as well as the left foot, knee facing upwards towards the ceiling or the sky, and the left arm will just extend away from the shoulder. Now, this is an opportunity for us to really open up the left hip flexor, the upper part of the left leg. It's a very specific stretch, specific point. The more the knee is facing up, the deeper we go into the stretch. If this feels too much, allow the knee to drop closer in towards your body. And you may also want to release the left ankle with your right hand to give yourself some more space. Let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Try to relax into the left foot. Allow the right leg to just drop towards the ground. Guide the breath into the left hip flexor. From here, gently lifting the left foot up, placing it on top of the right, and with your feet down to the ground, just rolling back to center. Give yourself a little moment here before crossing the right ankle below the left knee. We will hold on to that ankle with the left hand before dropping it towards the ground, extending the right arm away from you. And we repeat the stretch on this side. So you can explore, the more you lift that knee, the deeper the stretch for the hip flexor. And as you can see, I keep my head in center. I allow the right buttocks to lift from the ground. The focus is really on that right hip flexor. Allow that area to gently expand, releasing the tension that may come from long periods of sitting, running, cycling. Again, you may guide your breaths down to that specific point. Taking our last mindful breaths here. And then lifting the right foot up, placing the leg on top of the left, and rolling back to center. Lift your knees once more into the chest to give yourself a little sway. You may lift your head as well up towards the knees if you'd like, just to round the back slightly. And then lower everything down. Let's extend our legs and settling in now into a completely relaxed Shavasana. And this is your time now just to absorb all the beautiful effects from this practice. Especially for the nervous system in Shavasana. take it all in, soften your body deeply. Relax your breath. Embrace the experience. Starting to gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe stretching those arms up overhead and lengthening forward through your legs as you awaken. And then you can step your feet in and slowly turn over to the side of your mat. And from the side, gently pressing yourself back up to a seated position. And cross-legged, let's join our hands in front of the heart, deeply thanking ourselves for this practice of nourishing, supporting our whole being, connecting to our truth. Bringing your hands up to the third eye and then bowing down as we close our practice. Namaste, and thank you everyone for joining this Yin Yoga practice with me. Have a beautiful rest of your day.